Cloud Strife is trans. You cannot change my mind. Trans characters in video games are rare. Games like Dragon Age and Dream Daddy do okay. Indie games do way better. But still, when it comes to listing explicitly trans characters in video games, there's like 5? Talking about the importance of trans representation is nothing new, and it's been done to death by people way more researched than I am. But still, AAA game studios give us peanuts. A trans character may get a quick cameo, but they're hardly ever the protagonist. It's almost like corporate higher-ups don't watch YouTube essays. Take Final Fantasy VII. Cloud Strife is a stoic, big-armed, 21-year-old military deserter turned mercenary. He works for an anti-fascist group, but on contract only. He has no allegiance, no friends, only sword. And he's in a love triangle with the game's 2 best characters. Perfect for cisgender boys with plenty of ennui to project onto. But what about me? I'm a hip, trans 20-something, chock full of ennui. Who do I project onto? Birdo? Actually, I'm very grateful for Birdo, but she's all I have! So, I've decided to do something about it. I'm making my own Final Fantasy VII. It's time to kill the author. Sorry, character designer and remake director Tetsuya Nomura. Looks like this is it. Or is it? Here's a question. Does a character have to mention being trans in order to be trans? Well, for representation's sake, yes. Since 98% of the world operates on a basis of assuming cis until proven otherwise, you kinda have to say that a character is trans in order to get points for representation. In games, this usually happens in dialogue where they'll offer up their dead name, or mention that they use a binder. I mean, I used to wear one too, guys, but really?
Let me know if you need help binding. You could really chisel something out of that overstuffed look.
But what about in real life? There's a healthy chunk of people in my life who don't know I'm trans, and they likely never will. Because I don't need to tell them, it's just true. So instead of just assuming cis, we can think of every character whose gender status we don't explicitly know as Schrodinger's trans. You aren't trans, and you are. We won't know for sure until Tetsuya Nomura stops being a coward. So why Cloud? Why this sad paragon of masculine fragility? Well, for one thing, a lot of the themes in Cloud's journey are actually really trans, like his lack of bodily autonomy. Cloud spends his teenage years in the military, already a restrictive environment for bodily expression, and then, to top it off, at age 15, he's kidnapped and injected with Genova cells. This not only puts him in a coma for 4 years, but also gives the antagonist Genova control over his body and mind. Trans people are constantly being told what to do with our bodies, whether we should or shouldn't transition physically, when, for that matter, and all under healthcare systems that usually aren't interested in helping us. It's pretty easy to feel like you don't own your own body. Then, there's being made to believe that you're something you're not. Cloud has a full-on breakdown halfway through Final Fantasy VII because Professor Hojo, the world's greasiest scientist, tells him he's just a failed clone of Sephiroth, and his entire childhood is made of false memories he created to cope. This turns out not to be true, but initially, this breaks Cloud. How can you trust a gut feeling about who you are when you're surrounded by people telling you you're delusional? I don't think I need to explain too deeply how this one's trans. Also, Cloud's trans because he's a sad paragon of masculine fragility. Gaia seems like a super gendered world, and Cloud grew up wanting to be a soldier, the height of military masculinity, strong, calculated, emotionless. Just like his role model Sephiroth. Something that simple must have been really attractive to a kid going through so much. Protect the weak, strike down anything in your way, don't get too attached, move on. There's comfort in emulating that. You take on a role that you see laid out before you like it's a blueprint for building yourself. Cis people emulate those roles all the time, sure, but that kind of modeling is especially common for trans people. And honestly, it kinda messed him up. He's not a very nice person. But here's why that's actually great. Something always bothers me about protagonists who are too good. Their choices are black and white, their motivations are always selfless, they've never made big mistakes that follow them throughout their lives. Honestly, that makes me feel kind of terrible about myself. Like, I could never achieve what they have, because I've made mistakes. I can be selfish. Worse still, in discourse about trans representation, it only feels like there's ever two options. The queer-coded villain, or the selfless hero. If we only get the queer-coded villain, then cis audiences only see trans people as villains. But if the only alternative is the selfless hero, then that's shallow. There's no opportunity for that character to be complex or relatable. Trans people aren't perfect in real life, because people aren't perfect in real life. So why can't trans characters be complicated and messy and real? Cloud means a lot to me. When I look at him, I see a kid gritting his teeth to survive in a totally cutthroat world that taught him that you have to be hard to protect yourself. He reminds me a lot of me as a teenager. God knows a lot of trans people probably feel the same. But then, he meets people who are kind to him. They believe him, they meet him where he's at, and they push him to be better. Another big part of being trans is figuring out who you are through supportive relationships with other people. And to me, that's the most heartwarming thing about Cloud. Seeing him grow up, mess up, and change little by little as he learns to care about how his actions affect other people. Every audience member brings a little of themselves to a story and gets something different out of it. But if you insist Cloud is cis, you're dismissing a lot of the potential for tasty, relatable themes, especially for trans people. So why shouldn't he be trans? What does it change about your Final Fantasy VII if Cloud's trans? Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. So I don't need to kill the author, Nomura-san. I'll just take your son. It's not like you ever loved him enough for who he was. Did you even know him? He belongs to me now. And so does Aerith. And so does Mettaton from Undertale, Toby Fox, and Bayonetta's trans, and so's Kratos. You think being a father's hard? Try being a trans parent.